What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here. So, this is a little different. This is not something that I've done before or something that I think I'm going to do again. But today is kind of a special, event. Um, I looked at the lineup, and just from the lineup, I can almost predict what's going to happen. And just so, in case anybody's unsure, there you can see it's 8:25. Chelsea put the lineup out 25 minutes ago. And, overall, the lineup's about what you'd expect based on who's available. Dave, Silva, Rudiger, James, Alonso, Conte, Chalaba, Mount, Pulisic, Ziyech. So it's about the best with what you've got. No Jorginho. Kovacic is back, but he's been out for a while, so not fully fit. But he's on the bench at least. However, the one thing that I want to draw attention to right now is down there at the bottom, right? I know it's a little blurry, but you can at least count how many names are down there, right? That's 6 names. That's 6 names on the bench. Well, we're missing a lot of players right now because of injury, because of COVID. So, yeah, of course, right? Of course we'd only name the players that are available in our first team and not go to the academy at all. And so this is why I wanted to do this kind of start to it. I'm gonna start talking, pause it, watch the game, and then talk, and then figure out if I'm right or not. But this kind of shows me, right? Again, people were worried. Oh, is Tuchel going to be able to rely on our youth? Is Tuchel going to give our youth a chance to perform? I don't think people realize what they were talking about. I think a lot of them were thinking, oh, well, is he going to give like Abraham and Mount? Is he going to give players like that a chance? Well, of course he is, because they're no longer youth players. They're first teamers now. They're players that are ready for the first team. They're ready to step in. They're ready to take that role because they're good enough. They're no longer at the youth level. However, this game, right? Even the last game, we're missing a lot of players. What does he do? You know what? I'll put Sarr and Saul and Barkley on the bench. I don't really feel like going to the youth. I don't really feel like figuring out what youth players are good enough to play. And then he puts on Saul, and Saul gives the game away. This game, we literally don't have enough first teamers to field or to put an entire 9 on a bench. So what does he do? Everton said, you know what, we'll field some of our youth players. And they got a draw out of that because the youth players came in fired up, ready to prove themselves. Tuchel says, nah, I don't really want to do all the research to find out what youth players we can use and who we can play and give some time to. I'm just going to put 6 on the bench and maybe that'll be good enough. So this, to me, tells me Tuchel doesn't know what he's doing. We have one of the best youth programs consistently putting out stars every year. We've seen none of them this year. We loaned out 3 of our promising prospects. Gilmore had a rough season at Norwich, but he's probably one of their better players right now. Gallagher flying at Palace. Broja scoring every other week for Southampton. We've loaned those 3 out, so those are 3 promising prospects. We sold one of our most promising prospects in Tammy Abraham. Sold another one in Tomori, sold another one in Gehi. So we've sold a lot of these young prospects, and now we need them, and we don't have them. And instead of getting to see what our youth program has, getting to see what they're producing right now, we've seen nothing but just terrible, average B-teamers. We've seen Sarr multiple times. We've seen Saul multiple times. We've seen Barkley multiple times. And this is, in my opinion, there's been a lot of issues recently with Tuchel. There's been a lot of issues with his player player choice. It's very early in the morning. I'm sorry. I know some people are like, what, 8 o'clock? That's early? For me, it's kind of early. I'm not used to being up this early. But, I mean, he's been picking the wrong players. He's been subbing in the wrong players. And then we've not been getting good results recently. His tactics have not been changing to adjust to the different teams we're playing. They've just been the exact same. Even when they're not working, he keeps it the exact same. And now when we're up against the wall, he has no answer. Even though the answer is right there in front of him, he has no answer. He's not trying the youth. He's not giving them a chance to see what they can do. It's just, we won't have a full 9 on the bench. We'll just do 6 players. It's fine. I know Everton showed us what we should be doing in the last game when we played them, and they took it to us with their youth. But we're not going to do that. That's not the Chelsea way. It should be. And yeah, not all managers have come in and given the youth a chance to play. Some of them have been guilty of avoiding that. Mourinho still gets blasted for some of the youth players he decided to let leave, and now they're coming back to haunt us. However, this is not the case here. We've just seen in the past couple of years what playing the youth players can do. Mount, Abraham, Zuma, Christensen. I mean, a lot of these players, James is another one, a lot of these players coming through our academy and doing fantastically in the Premier League. And Tuchel comes in and has the chance to say, all right, let's give the youth a chance. We're in a situation now where a lot of players are out. We have the chance to play our youth players. And what does he do? None of them. He would rather field or bench 6 players instead of 9 rather than play our youth. And that, to me, should be the final straw. And I don't care if he's trying to make some sort of the Premier League is giving all these other teams a bye week because they don't have enough players to play. So if they're not going to do it for us, we'll just show them. We'll lose this game by only having 6 players on our bench. So, yeah, like I said, I'll pause the video here and then restart it after the game is over. But I just wanted to get that out of the way early. I wanted to get my frustration with Tuchel in the lineup and what he did today to our bench. But in my opinion, if this is him trying to make a stand, it's a stupid way to do it because we are falling behind in the title race. We need to win this game to get back, to give ourselves a chance to get back and face the music again with Liverpool and City playing as well as they are. We need this win. We needed the Everton win. And the fact that he will not play the youth, he will not give them a chance, and he would rather lose this game because we have 3 less subs, which, even then, 2 of the 6 subs are keepers. So it just feels like he's setting us up to lose to make a point like, the Premier League just hates us and they don't want to give us a game off. Who freaking cares? Put out your best team. And if that means dipping into the youth program, then dip into the youth program. You should know what youth players have a chance to actually get a chance in the first team and to maybe show what they can do. But he's not done any of that. He had Vale on the bench once, I think, and then I think that's about it for this season. We've not seen any other youth players. So, yep, that's where I am. I'm still, after the last game and then after seeing that, I'm still calling for Tuchel to be done because that's embarrassing. It's frustrating and it's embarrassing, and it's not the sign of a truly competent manager. It's the sign of a manager that would rather make a point rather than actually try to win a game. And that, for me, is not what I want at our club. So, going to pause it now. I'll see you guys after the game, and we'll see what happened. We'll see if Saul got to give away another 3 points. Hey, so just popping in here because second half's about to kick off, and I see that Saul has come on at halftime. At halftime for Chalaba. Tuchel out, boys! Tuchel out! Come on! Get him out of here! And game over. So, yeah, there it is. 0-0 draw. Honestly, kind of surprising. I thought we were going to lose today, but managed to step it up in the second half a bit. But, yeah, it's another game we should be winning. We need to win because Man City and Liverpool are not losing or dropping points. And we can't get it done. And, yeah, we are missing a lot of first-teamers. And I'll give him the fact that had we had more first-teamers, maybe would have pulled out a win today comfortably because we did start creating some good chances near the end of the second half and had a couple that probably would have been able to finish had we had a Werner up there or You know, I want to say Lukaku, but honestly, I don't think if Lukaku was up there, it would have helped us much because he's not playing well this year. Um, so yeah, but I mean, all in all, though, it's another drop 2 points. As far as Tuchel's concerned, his subs in the second half, I already talked about Saul. Um, it was kind of funny, actually. The commentator was just like, "Oh yeah, bringing on Saul at halftime. That he's really changed the game. He's given them an experienced head in the midfield." What? And yeah, he's more of a distributor than Chalobah is. And Chalobah, there were times where his passing did let us down in the first half. But that's not what changed the game for us. What changed the game is we had players finally start stepping it up. We started pressing as a team. James, who was our outlet a lot in the first half, was terrible, stepped it up the second half, which allowed us to get more chances down that right side. So it was a mentality shift rather than a player shift. Saul coming on didn't really change anything. What it did do was leave us open to counterattacks, which thankfully we didn't have to worry about that too much because Silva was there. He was. I'll talk about individuals in a second, but yeah, from Tuchel's point of view, I mean, didn't really. I don't know. Didn't do anything bad in the second half aside from the Saul change. Kovacic coming on for Ziyech was not the preferred switch. I think I actually would have preferred Barkley just because he provides a bit more creativity in the final third. He's not a good player, but on the ball he can do something creative in the final third given the time. And Wolves did drop off second half. I feel like he would have had time to try to create something. I feel like it should have been Kovacic on for Chalobah, or even push Mount back and have him be one of the holding two midfielders. Because I just feel like when he's a part of that front three and he's pushed off to the side, he's just not as effective. Like his crossing can be good, but it's not what he's good at. What he's good at is picking the ball up at the top of the box and making something happen, whether it's a great pass or a great shot. And when he's pushed further out wide, it's harder for him to get that done. He still makes some good runs, still tries to make stuff happen, but he's a little bit more hindered. So I feel like it would have been better if we had him drop deep, or even just push him into the middle and have him sit behind Pulisic and then somebody else, whether it's Barkley, whether you want to try Saul again as a false nine, just something different there. But I mean, it is what it is. Yeah, we are missing a lot of first teamers, but you're making excuses now. Again, the fact that he didn't seat three youngsters on the bench, he just decided to say no, we're not even gonna have them. We're not even gonna try to use them. For me, that's sackable because that's not what we want here. That's not the type of coach we want to have. We want to have somebody that's going to dip into our very talented academy and say, hey, let's give them a chance. And he's not doing that. And it's hurting us. We're having to rely on players that are not good enough right now when, yeah, the academy players may not be Premier League level, but they're going to bring a work rate and energy and a bit of an unknown quality as well. Sometimes whenever these new players come into the Premier League and you don't know anything about them, you don't really know what to expect. You don't know what type of runs they're going to make. You don't know what foot they prefer. Are they going to cut in? Are they going to try to go out wide? That's why, some of these players that have that initial burst of energy. You look at like Pukki, the first time he was in the Premier League, he was on fire. He was dominating some of the games, but then teams figured out how to play him, and now he can hardly get a touch in the opposing penalty box. That's kind of what we can look to expect whenever we bring in some of these talented youngsters into the team and give them a chance. You don't know what to expect for them, and they can have that flying start. They can give you a little something extra, a little something different. But Tuchel's just, I don't know whether he's trying to make a point, and if he is, you're costing us points while you make your point. And that's not what I want out of a manager. Do I think the Premier League is wrong not to cancel our game? Yeah, because they've canceled all these other games. There's no point why they shouldn't cancel ours as well. I don't think they should be canceling any games to begin with, but that's because I think they're being dumb about the whole COVID situation, but that's just me. But yeah, I mean, I do agree that if you're going to cancel all these other games and give all these other teams like, oh, you're missing people because of COVID, well, we'll postpone your game. Then you should do it for all the teams. It should not be we'll give them a break, but you guys have to keep going. That's kind of, it's I don't want to say not fair because it sounds childish. It's not fair. But there is a level of you got to be equal in your decisions. And this is not equal. This is you're giving some teams leeway and you're punishing others for missing players. And I just don't think that's right. Again, I don't think any games should be postponed. But if you're going to do it, you should do it for everyone. You shouldn't pick and choose. Oh, well, we'll let you do it because you're missing a few more players than that team that we're going to continue to make play. It's not right. So that being said, though, you can make all the excuses you want. At the end of the day, you got to put out a team that's going to get the job done, and I don't think Tuchel's doing it. I think he's trying to make a point. I think he's trying to say, well, look what you've put us into. You can't do that. You just got to go win games. You got to say, okay, fine. They want to screw us over like that? Whatever. Let's just go win this game then. But we're not doing that. We're going out and it's almost like, oh, pity us. Premier League's being so mean. No, go win the freaking game. So anyway, that's my Tuchel rant. Individuals-wise, Mendy didn't really have a whole lot to do, but he did have one really good save to make because they had one really good chance. And I'll talk about the culprit in a second. But yeah, that free header that he had to do well to get down and make the save. And honestly, I mean, it was their big chance. Obviously there was the offside from Jimenez. Podence scored, but Jimenez was offside. That one, of course, was a big chance for them as well. But the one where they weren't offside and he had to make the save, he did do a good job there. Azpilicueta, little slow again today, and I think it's just, he was out of the team for quite a while, and now he's having to come in and he's having to play a ton of games in a row. I think it's just he's a bit older now, so you can't really keep him out of the side that long and then expect him to just step right back in and go right back to the energetic, pacey Azpilicueta that we're used to seeing. And so I blame Tuchel for that. You got to keep him involved. He's still a very valuable player. He's still a player that knows what he's doing. He's one of the best one-on-one defenders in the world, honestly. And you bench him. Oh, let's bring him in now and let's just let him go 3 games in a row, full 90 minutes, and see what he can do. So I do think that rustiness is still showing, and I do think it was a good idea to move him outright whenever Traore came in, because I do think James has a bit more pace to him. But overall, I thought he did okay. Still very solid defensively, even though he's not quite at 100%. Silva is at 100%. I almost want to say he's at 150% because the dude's playing out of his mind right now. I mean, he's been the one that's been keeping us in most of these games that we either should be losing or we did lose, but we could have lost by a lot more. He's the one that's keeping us in it. I mean, today, so many chances that Wolves could have had in that first half, Silva made sure it didn't happen. So many chances they could have created in the second half, Silva made sure it didn't happen. While the rest of the team was pressing very well together and was doing a good job of limiting their balls forward in the second half, Silva was still the one, whenever the ball did come forward, it's no problem. He's there. It doesn't matter who he's up against, whether it's Jimenez, whether it's Traore, whether it's Podence. It doesn't matter. He's like, oh, you're faster than me? It's fine. I'm smarter than you. And he's the typical intelligent defender, and it's the type of defender that I love to see. Again, I would rather have 3 Silvas in my back line rather than 3 Van Dijks, just because with the 3 Silvas, I know they're going to know what they're doing. I know they're going to read the game well. They're going to make sure things don't get disorganized, don't get out of place. They're going to do their job, and they're going to make sure the people around them are doing their job as well. Van Dijk, very athletic, very talented tackler of the ball, but he doesn't read the game well. He gets pulled out of position. He can make up for it with his pace and speed, but I much rather prefer a Silva type of defender rather than, a Van Dijk type of defender. And honestly, our version of Van Dijk in the club is Rudiger, because that's the type of defender he is. Sometimes he'll get pulled out of position, but he has a lot of pace, he has a lot of energy, and he's a good tackler, so he can make up for that. And today, kind of saw a bit of that. There were times where it felt like he was not really in the correct position, not really reading the game well, and seeing what players he needed to pick up, seeing what players he needed to make sure Alonso was picking up. There's a bit of a disconnect there, and I do feel like that's something that they need to address, because right now, Alonso's our only option. So we need to make sure that we have better connectivity over there between Rudiger and Alonso, because that's where we're getting beat a lot of the time. And on that note, Alonso. Second half stepped it up a bit, but that's mainly because we had more possession in the final third, so he was allowed to do what he's good at, and that is attack. Because, yeah, defensively, he's trash. We know this. And I don't know what goes through his head sometimes, though. Like, some of the decisions that he makes, I really have to sit here and wonder, what's he thinking right now? Like, what goes through your mind? You see a cross come in. You see your player that you're supposed to be marking jump up in the air and go for the header, and you back off. You back off and you go, I hope he doesn't score. What are you doing? So, I don't know what happened there. And then also, there was a point near the end of the game where that number 2, Hoover, I think his name was, like, took it down the line, and instead of going with him and basically just going alongside him, he stuck out a leg and tried to poke the ball away and missed it. If that were in the box, could have easily been a penalty like what he did against Leeds, but it was outside the box, and the right wing back was decided he was more beneficial to go with the ball rather than go down. So thankfully it didn't hurt us. But yeah, just a lot of defensive lapses and concentration. I've heard talk that they're looking at getting another left wing back in January. I kind of hope that's true, but I also feel like there's more important things to do in January, like bring back some players on loan, put players back that are on loan here right now, put them back at their club, and just, really solidify the middle of the field a bit more because we need more there. But yeah, I mean, left wing back is definitely an important position to solidify as well because Alonso's just not really cutting it at the moment. I know they've said Saul has played left wing back before, but I don't want to relive the Zenit game. So yeah, he's really frustrating at the moment to watch at times. James, worst player in the first half by far, just lazy, giving the ball away, just nothing that I'm used to seeing from James. Even when he's at the point where I'm not happy with him, but a lot of people are because he's very creative and talented on the ball, there are times that I want him to be more energetic. I want him to be more involved. I want to see more pace up and down the wing. But he still puts in a good performance. He still does okay. He still puts in some good crosses. He creates some good stuff. He's an outlet. Today was just, he was bad. He was Saul, Jorginho, Alonso bad. Just constantly taking too many touches, long touches, so the player that's right on him is just like, well, thank you, taking the ball. Just way too much of that today in the first half. Thankfully, second half, he did step it up a bit. Again, he provided an outlet. He was more aware. He was more energetic on the ball. I don't know if Tuchel got on his ear at halftime, but you could tell there was a change in him in the second half, and that's really one of the main points as to why we were able to be more progressive in the second half. In the first half, we were constantly pinned in, couldn't get out. James stepped it up in the second half, and I really feel like that's what changed the momentum for us because he is such an influential player out there. He's always our outlet. He's always the guy that's making stuff happen. He's constantly putting in challenges down that left side for Wolves that just really helped to negate their attack in the second half. And he wasn't doing any of that in the first half. So, yeah, definitely a tale of two halves for him. But overall, I would say an average performance from him. If you kind of balance out the two, like did some good, did some bad, it kind of balances out to just very average. I would say 5 out of 10 if I had to rate it with numbers. Into the middle of the field, Chalobah, like I said, just not really a distributor, and for some reason Tuchel was trying to play him in that position. I don't really know why. Again, I don't really understand that idea of we're going to have our deepest guy be a distributor. I want my deepest man to be a defensive player and have our distribution come from the middle of the defense, because Silva can do that. Silva's a good distributor. So I'd prefer to do that instead of let's have a distributor in the midfield sit deepest, because most of the time that distributor is not good defensively. You look at Jorginho, you look at Saul, they're going to cause issues for you defensively because they're not good enough on that side of the ball. So when they're on the ball, they're fine, but off of it, it's scary. Today it was a bit of an opposite problem. You had Chalobah is just not really good enough on the ball, but defensively, he's okay. I'm actually going to pause for 1 second. Sorry about that. I had to take a call real quick. But yeah, so as I was saying, Chalobah not really in the right, I guess, position. Because again, Tuchel playing him as a distributor, I don't think that works out, and I don't know why we're doing distributor anyway. But with all that being said, on to Conte. Conte, first full game back from I guess injury, his most recent injury, because he's been dealing with a lot of them. But overall today seemed solid. Little worried because there's that one chance he had at the end where he kind of kicked Cody's ankle, and it seemed like he may have felt that one. So I don't know. What I really hate is Conte is still easily one of the best midfielders in the world, but the problem is with all the injuries, he's kind of becoming a liability because we can't rely on him every game now, like we were able to before. So we do need to start looking and seeing, okay, we need to have an answer for whenever Conte's not available because it's happening more often, and we don't have that answer right now. But for today, I thought he was very solid, very effective in the midfield. Second half, I thought he really stepped it up as well and helped us keep a lot more possession in their backfield and really keep them from being able to break out on us quickly because he was constantly there and he was constantly creating a threat. Into the front three, because these were definitely the three that struggled the most out of everyone. Mount, for me, again, I just feel like it's not really his natural position. I feel like he's more comfortable sitting behind a striker or just more in the central of the field, not really pushing him out wide and having to deliver crosses and all of that. So I do feel like it's not really his best positioning to play on one of the sides there, but worked hard, busted it for a lot of the game. Just unfortunately not very, very effective in the final third, and it hurt us a couple times today. Ziyech was back to his frustrating form for me. Just, I don't know, lack of ability to really create much. There was a lot of pressure on him today. Like they were very much anytime he took a touch, it was on him. But he's typically better about wriggling out of that situation and trying to create something. Today, it felt like he wasn't able to do that. He was playing a little bit slower. Felt like he didn't have as many ideas. And also, I do think it hurts that he's playing on the left side. I think he's a lot better when he can cut in on his left and deliver a good kind of whipped cross in toward the back post. Because I think those are a lot more dangerous than whenever he's putting in an outswinger. So that may have hurt him a bit today, but I still felt like he should have done a bit more. With all the ability he has and the creativity he has, I really felt like he should have done more to help us today. But he was probably, on the whole of it, just because he didn't really step it up in the second half, unlike James, I think he was probably our worst player today. And then Pulisic, still not a false nine, still not really much of a striker, but still working hard at least. I feel like today was a lot easier for him than it was against Everton because there was more space for him to maneuver. So he did get on the ball a bit more and he did have a few more chances to create. Would like a bit better finishing though because he did have the best chance of the game. Probably our best run of play. Ball up to Conte, out to Alonso, who just so casually slips in Pulisic. And just it was easily our best chance, but unfortunately he doesn't really place it. He just sort of tries to chip it over the keeper and puts it right at him still. So, it was a good save. Keeper did well to make himself big, but you want a bit more quality. You want him to really focus in that moment and just find the spot. Find where the hole in the keeper is, whether it's through his legs, whether it's just around his arm or whatever. That composure, I feel like, is something that a lot of our players lack, and it's something that I wish we had more of. It's something that Giroud, I think, had very well. So hopefully he can step up a bit more, though, because he's been working hard. He's been busting it as much as he can, but the quality on the ball still needs to improve. It still needs to get better. As far as the subs are concerned, Saul, he didn't have any mistakes today, so that's a step in the right direction, but I still don't rate him. I still don't think he's going to be effective for us. We already have a distributor in Jorginho, so even if he can play that position well, which I don't think he really can, we already have it. We already have somebody who can sit deep and just keep the ball moving. And honestly, I think Jorginho moves it a little bit quicker than him, which I didn't think was possible. I didn't think anybody was slower than Jorginho, but Saul, I think, is. So he's not even as good of a distributor. He's not as quick of a distributor as our slow distributor, Jorginho. So yeah, he's not a factor. He's not a player. The only reason he's getting any game time right now is because so many players are out. And even then, I still would prefer Tuchel goes to our youth program. Or, again, you drop Mount deep, put Barkley up top even. I feel like that's a better option than having Saul in there. So not his worst game. It probably is one of his best games for us, but it's just because he didn't make any mistakes today. That's the only reason that I would say it's his best game, because every other game he's played for us, he's made consistent mistakes. And actually, I want to take that back, because I do think he had one where he gave the ball away in the middle of the field and created a good chance for Wolves. So I'm actually going to take that back. I do think he made a couple of mistakes today. They didn't hurt us, so I don't remember them as much. When he makes mistakes that hurt us, like not jumping up and away from the ball while the young Everton player pokes it in, that's a mistake I'll remember because it cost us the 3 points. Today's mistakes didn't cost us all 3 points, but I don't know. That's just where I am for him. And then Kovacic does make his return today. He's been out for a little bit as well and looked okay. Had a couple scary moments, but it's kind of Kovacic in a nutshell. He has some good moments where he keeps the ball, keeps possession. I don't know why the TV just turned off. That was my source of lighting, because I don't have lighting equipment, and now it's gone. Thank you for that, TV. I guess you could still sort of see me. But yeah, just he has those moments where he can do something a little nerve-wracking. He can make a pass that was a little dangerous, like he did. Takes the ball across the box and then loops it up and gives it away. So he has those moments in him, but he also has a lot of moments of doing good, coming out of the high press, keeping possession for us, and breaking that first line, so that way we can break on the other team. It's something he's very effective at, and his passing is pretty good as well. I think his passing falters a little bit when he gets into the final third, which is why I think Barkley would have been a better option to put up top than him. But overall, it was a good return for him. It was good to see him come back into the team. Hopefully he can keep his fitness up, because we do miss him, I think, in the middle of the field right now. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, all in all, again, I'm frustrated. I'm glad we didn't drop all 3 points. Honestly, based on the first half, I really thought we were just going to lose the game because Wolves were taking it to us. But I'm glad we stepped it up in the second half. But again, for Tuchel, you're not doing anything different. You're not trying to change anything. You're just consistently putting out the same players. You have an academy to pull from, and you're not doing that. You're not trying to give anybody a chance. You're just giving these players that are consistently not giving you enough more chances to prove that they're not going to give you enough, instead of saying, hey, let's see if a kid can come on and do something different. So I just feel like Tuchel needs to be gone at this point. I feel like he doesn't have any answers for how tough it gets in the Premier League, because it's every year is like this. Every year we deal with this. You lose some players. We go through this tough run of fixtures where a lot of games back-to-back. Obviously, with COVID thrown in, it's going to be a bit different because they're having to test every week, and if you have a player that tests positive, he can't play even if he's fully healthy. So that adds an extra element of players that you can lose. But still, we normally have to deal with a loss of players and a huge run of fixtures like this in the Premier League every year. And if Tuchel can't handle that pressure, if he can't figure out how to deal with losing some players and having players that are out of fitness or having to play 3 games in a week, if he can't figure out how to deal with that and win games, I don't think he's going to make it in the Premier League. So, because when he came in, I'm pretty sure he came in after the whole Christmas break and he was only in like 3 competitions, the FA Cup, Champions League, and Premier League, so didn't have to deal with a whole lot of competitions. I think he had it pretty easy. He came into a team that Lampard had already kind of built up. He had got a good solid foundation, and Tuchel just found a way to get us to defend well. But now things are getting rough, and he can't answer the issues. He can't answer the struggles. So, yeah, I don't. Maybe he'll get better. Maybe things will get better. But right now, based on what I'm seeing at the moment, I don't think he has the ability to really cut it in the Premier League. At least not win the Premier League. Maybe once the Premier League loosens up a bit, once the fixtures loosen up a bit, maybe it'll go back to how it was earlier in the season, late last season. Maybe he will be able to turn it around. But if we have to deal with this for every Christmas fixture list, I feel like this is going to be where we lose the title every year as long as Tuchel's here. And I don't think that's good enough in my opinion. But that's my opinion. I realize there are a lot of people that still think Tuchel's got it, still think he's just having it rough, still want to defend him because of all the players he has out. I just think it's too many excuses, and in my opinion, we are now officially out of the title race. I mean, Man City crushed Newcastle. Liverpool, I don't remember who they have, but it's some easy team, I'm pretty sure. I mean, I'm just going to check real quick because I don't remember who they're playing. But I remember when I looked at it, I'm thinking, okay, Liverpool should win that game easily. Yeah, they're playing Tottenham, and it's 1-1 right now at the 37th minute, but it's Tottenham. They're going to screw up at some point. So, yeah, I mean, really feeling like the title is gone. So our only hope is to win another one of the trophies that we're in for. We'll see what happens. But anyways, that's it for me. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts on the game today? Let me know what we can talk about and discuss all the good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Chelsea reviews, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.